voted differently, or might that have influenced us, or how is that going to impact Vancouver, and what is the situation going to be with the Plaza Nations, and if bingo is, if the slots are indeed allowed as part of the bingo. So I wonder if perhaps our staff could give us some information on that, could look into what the provincial intentions are, could tell us in a way when that announcement was. Did we know that? Could we have known that at the time before we made that vote?
I can certainly ask, I mean, I'm delighted. I will prepare a memo for you on the timing of that issue, and also what the impact on the slots and the charity bingos might mean for Vancouver. But I would ask that I be able to do that in the context of a memo.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
Councillor Wedgeworth.
Glad to hear we're going ahead with the van for women working in the sex trade industry, because it's been over a year that we've been waiting eagerly to hear that that would be up and running. And I just wanted to make a note that today is BC Literacy Day, and I was going to suggest people read The Peace Pilgrim, but things seem to have leveled out a bit, so I'm actually going to recommend that people read the book called Missing Sarah, that's written by Maggie DeVries about her sister Sarah, who went missing and whose DNA was found at the Picton farm.
Councillor Stevenson.
Thank you very much. When I was in the legislature, they used to have a fairly stiff penalty for misleading the legislature, and I'm not sure if that's the case in City Council or what the situation is, but I'm concerned about one of our members who possibly misled us at our last council meeting. I don't know if all of the councillors received in the mail a letter entitled the Coalition for Civic Democracy, but it says that it's a group of former candidates of other parties, Team, the Green Party, Independents, who got together to listen to a Seattle councillor. His name is, he's the president, Peter Steinbrück, speak on the ward system. And you may recall that at the last council meeting, Councillor Sullivan invited us and everyone else to go to this meeting on the 15th of January. And then that's all there was for a moment or so, until one of, I think, Councillor Louis said something to the effect that, well, at the NPA meeting, Councillor Sullivan's meeting, this and that and the other thing about this particular person who was speaking. And Councillor Sullivan then at that point said, no, this isn't true. This isn't my meeting. This isn't MPA meeting. This is just a group of people who are getting together, a group of people who are meeting, and they just asked me to make this announcement about that for us and for the public and so on. Well, it just happened that the next day I was at the Bill Good Show, and so was this Peter Steinbrück. I have his card after the meeting, and he said to me, oh, are you coming to this tonight? And I said, no, I couldn't make it. And I said, who invited you to this? And he said, well, Councillor Sullivan did. I said, oh, who's paying your expenses? Oh, well, he said, there's not many expenses. I said, well, you have a few, yes. Well, who's paying for those? Oh, he said, Councillor Sullivan was. And I thought, well, that's strange, because Councillor Sullivan intentionally told us that it wasn't the MPA, and it wasn't himself that was behind this. It was this group of people. And obviously on their letter, they never mentioned the MPA. So I'm concerned that if it's true, as the president of the council stated, that we've been somewhat possibly misled.
Councillor Sullivan.
Well, I wasn't going to bring up that meeting that you had, but City Council President Peter Steinbrück was quite amazed at the response that you did give to him at the radio show. He said, "I can't believe how polarized this city is. I mean, I introduced myself very politely to Councillor Stevenson, and the first thing he asked was, 'Who paid your way?' And I would have thought that there would be a little bit more decorum and diplomacy to the president of the Seattle City Council, who is the equivalent of the mayor. I do belong to a number of other organizations, Councillor Stevenson. I belong to quite a number of community organizations, and I'm on the board of several. If you had shown up to that meeting, you would have seen the chair, Constantine Bonis, who ran for the City Council under VCA team. You would have heard from a senior policy analyst from the Green Party, who also co-chaired the meeting. And you would have heard from a gentleman named George Chow, who was an independent Chinese candidate in the last council election, who got the most votes of any independent candidate, 17,000 votes. An incredible following and support that he has. There are a number of people that attended that meeting. I might point to Mayor Philip Owen, and if you do say that that is an NPA, makes that an NPA event, well, that is interesting. There was May Brown, and there was in fact Tom Berger, the commissioner for Don Lee was there, BC Lee was there, absolutely. There was good people from various different parties, including the NPA, and certainly I was the one who made the phone call on their behalf. So I was asked to introduce Councillor Steinbrück because I am also a city councillor, and that was the goal of that. Councillor Stevenson, I think what you need to know is that there is a growing body of citizens who are concerned that you and your council, Cope Council, intends to impose, without a referendum, an electoral system that is of your choosing. And there are a number of people who are concerned about that, and you, if you haven't heard from them by now, there is a council president from Seattle who is also amazed to find that Vancouver is the only city in North America that will not allow its citizens to choose its own electoral system. It's unbelievable, and he couldn't believe it. He, in fact, describes himself as a liberal, progressive Democrat. He would feel much more comfortable, in fact, in a COPE organization than he would in the NPA, apparently. So he is also a great supporter of the at-large system, and the citizens of Seattle were allowed to vote. They rejected the ward system by 54%. I suggest you guys listen to the people as well and allow the people to have a say. Thank you.
Councillor Stevenson.
That's great, Councillor Sullivan. A lot of smoke.
No, I'm going to jump in, Councillor Stevenson, very briefly. I may have been in error. We are in inquiries. I may have been in error when you last spoke. You didn't really raise an inquiry. It wasn't a question, so to speak. It was a concern. I turned a blind eye. Councillor Sullivan, I wanted to respond to your concern. I thought that nobody turned a blind eye to you. I had to turn a blind eye to him. Now you're responding to his response to your concern, and we're very quickly moving light years from inquiries and into concerns. Can I ask you, I'll let you make the final decision. I'm not making a ruling, but can we move on to a new item?
No, I'll...
Okay, go ahead.
No, I'll follow your wisdom and do...
Not much there.
And I'll, if you want me to pick this up in a minute, that's fine with me.
Oh, no, you can pick it up now, but I was hoping we could move on. But if you want to respond to his response to your... Fair enough, go ahead.
I feel that was a very interesting response, but what I was trying to get at, Councillor Sullivan, was that you tried to pretend as if this had absolutely, you went out of your way, in fact, to try to say it had nothing to do with you, you knew nothing about it other than me, you know, I spoke to you.
Well, now again, Councillor Stevenson, you're not speaking to him, you're speaking to council.
You were just...
Not you, he.
You were just merely